Well, with me now doing another petition is Richard Holmes. In fact, two, Richard. We talked only the other week about your situation. Is this a follow-up to what we were talking about?
It's the general issue of who is appointing the people who are responsible for complaints, for oversight, etc. And there's this term comes from a legal term which comes who is watching the watchers, and this is the central premise of my my petition. So, who is appointing the Police Complaints Commissioner? How is that working in terms of the relationship between police and Police Complaints Commissioner? And what triggered this to an extent was the Police Chief Constable's report, which was issued last week and is going to be debated next week, I believe. And in that, it says that there were about 55 or so 50 informal complaints and 5 formal complaints. Well, that's 55 complaints about the police. That means we have an issue. Who determines that it's informal or formal? How does that work? And I think that's an important matter for the whole of the island.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps. So many people have things on the same line about things that don't appear as transparent as they should be, maybe.
Yes, I think transparent would be. It's more the opposite. It's somewhat murky, and I think that affects the confidence that people have in a small jurisdiction. In a large jurisdiction, you're a number. In a small jurisdiction, you're a person. People point you out, see you when you go shopping. And I think that this is an issue that needs to be addressed, because the rule of law and the good governance is actually the UK's responsibility, and they've graciously handed that to the Isle of Man to do these things. And therefore I think it's an important matter also for the UK to see that these things are done independently and effectively. As I say, who is appointing the complaints commission, the Police Complaints Commissioner? How is that appointment done? How independent is that? Who is authorising investigations, non-investigations? Where is this happening? And as a person who has made a complaint to the Police Complaints Commissioner, this system is very different on paper than what seems to happen. And that is a worrying matter for the good governance of the island.
Well, we'll keep going on this one and follow up. You had two, though, do you, such?
Yes, the second one is with regards to an independent report. Independence is a word that is bandied around very quickly, like we've seen with the Ex-Poll report, for instance, in Dr. Ranson. And independence, the word independent only means something if it actually is a true matter. And that relates to the whistleblowing report that was made by 8 people and was dealt with in a way that I believe needs to be questioned, needs to be looked at, so that people can have trust in the island's governance and we want to come forward to make complaints. I mean, I would personally say that the more complaints there are, the more improvement we can have. If there's no complaints, then people either do not trust the system, or everything's running perfectly, which we know is not the case at the moment. Or people are fearful of the gamut they're going to have to run after that. And that is also one of the issues. I think people need to be able to come forward confidently and make complaints and know that those matters are going to be dealt with properly and swiftly, because otherwise negative lessons will be learnt instead of positive lessons learnt and problems fixed.